one yet? Guys, that whole like announcement still throws me off every time. But awesome. I am seriously so stinking excited to have Rachel come on tonight. We had a chance to kind of hang out and get to know each other a little bit at Winter Circle a couple weeks ago. And I will say you were one of like probably the most meaningful relationships I felt I made. Like you were just so sweet. And so I'm so excited to have a chance to chat some more and let everyone else hear some of the awesome tips that you have for us. So I'm going to have you unmute yourself. You should be able to. And then just give us your introduction, you know, your story, why you're here. We've got plenty of time. So as much or as little as you feel like doing.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that intro. That was so sweet. Yeah, and isn't it crazy? I feel like Winter Circle was already like 7 years ago. I'm like, wait, I want to come back. I'm so ready. But yeah, thanks for having me on, you guys. I have been with our company now in September, it'll be 7 years, which is really crazy because I know a lot of you don't know who I am, but like I am the type of person that just gives up when things get hard. Honestly, I've given up on everything except for like my kids and my marriage. So outside of this, like this is a really big accomplishment for me. And I say that because I'm sure there are people on here that maybe you're brand spanking new, or maybe you don't have any success and you're like, I'm at that point where I'm like, I'm the one that gives up all the time. And like, this is probably going to be one of those things. So wanted to start off by saying that 7 years is a really long time, but it works on me in 2014. And I had a story that is kind of common in this company in the sense of I did things backwards. I got pregnant when I was 20. I was in college. I was on food stamps, and I had tried another company fresh out of high school, and it wasn't a good fit for me. I don't think I was in the right headspace. I was 19 years old, and I think it was also the company. I think it was a mix of all of those, but I sucked, and I only lasted about 2 months. And I told myself that I would never do it again because I wasn't good at it and I wasn't a salesperson. And so, God placed this in my path when I was sick and tired of being on food stamps. I was embarrassed. I was tired of living paycheck to paycheck and arguing every time we had to, go up our food stamps and all of the things revolving around that. It made me feel really yucky. I was 21 years old and I just felt like there had to be more to life than that. And so I had one person posting at the time, and she was just posting about the products, and I was interested. I was an insecure mom and I was interested, and it was just the wraps. That was like what was really hot in 2014. So I saw so many different bellies and I was like, I want that. So I used my birthday money to buy one, and I loved it so, so much. And then she gave me the whole spiel of like becoming a customer. And when I heard that they were $59, back then they were 59, now they're 49. But when she told me they were 59, I was like, get real. Like I will never be able to do that because as a mom, like I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. And so I told her basically I just I shot it to her straight in the sense of like, I probably will never become a customer. So I just want you to know so you don't waste your time. And that's when she told me about the opportunity, you guys. And she didn't say anything special, but the thing that kept me interested in joining the same day that I said I didn't have the $59, I found the $100 the same day, was because I told her all of the reasons I would suck. And she wanted me still. Like she still wanted me. And she was like, you can still do this, I promise. And it didn't feel like one of those situations where I thought she was just telling me that to tell me. I feel like she really did believe that this business could be for anyone. And so I called my husband on his emergency line and I said, I'm going to use our last credit card. I'm going to spend the $100. I have no idea what I'm getting into, but I know I can at least be good enough to make $200 a month. And he actually told me no, but I did it anyway. So if there's anyone on here and you're like, my spouse isn't supportive or he's skeptical, that's so normal. And even though I joined wanting to give my son Carter a better life, I more so joined because he thought I couldn't do it. My husband, Zach, thought I couldn't do it. And so he told me if I sucked, that was fine, but I had to make that money back. And so I was like, okay, well, this is a challenge. Like I'm going to do it because we really didn't have the money. And I jumped in head first. I drove to my enroller's house the next day. She told me everything you needed to know and more. Like she gave me too much information. And I cried all the way home, leaving her house. I remember right when I left, right when I was about to leave, she showed me what I had to do to get the $10,000 bonus, go diamond in 3 months. And I cried on the way home because I felt like I had been played. Like I felt like that was the ceiling. That was the reason why I said yes, is because she told me the $10,000 bonus right before I clicked submit. And I'm like, okay, I need that. So then when she told me what I had to do to get there, I felt like it was one of those things where it's like 1 in a million, do it. And I was mad. And so I cried the whole way home thinking I got in too deep. I couldn't understand any of it. I obviously talked myself off the ledge, but I just was a slow starter in the sense of like, I had a really utilized her for probably the first 3 to 4 weeks, but I ran with it, you guys, because that $10,000 bonus, I needed it. And so I ended up going diamond in 3 months. It was New Year's Eve. Everybody was out getting drunk and I was like trying to put in all these orders and I did it. And then that comma in my paycheck was really what changed our life, because that was when Zach was like, oh, this is real. Like, this is actually real money. You should keep on going. And there's something so significant when your husband goes from standing behind you to next to you and he's believing in you. And so I'm like, well, let's go. And so I had signed him up a month in. So he was already on my team and I was building him, and I got him diamond 2 months later, which was 5 months in, and I was double diamond. And that was the first time that Mark had brought out the double bonuses. So we felt like we were loaded. It was 5 months in, we were making $7,000 a month. And right after we promoted, we quit our jobs. And everybody thought we were crazy. And we did too. We weren't necessarily confident in that decision, but we were confident in the company. And we knew if we came home and we did this full time, then it would be game over. And that's exactly what it was. It took us a year after that to go triple diamond. And then we were making 5 figures a month. And then we just kept on going. Well, after triple diamond, we were making really good money. And then I got pregnant with my second son, Elijah, and everything with that up until my 3rd trimester was just really bad. And so I don't know if anybody knows what that's like to like do really good at something and then have something unexpectedly like throw you off, and how bad it sucks to not just be your full capacity, right? And so my marriage was struggling. I was depressed. I was pregnant. Everything was going wrong. And so my business kind of like went down and down and down to where we were just making enough to cover our bills. And it felt like we went all the way up to all the way down. And so at the end of 2016, I had my son, and I had to make the decision if I was going to quit or if I was going to keep on going. My husband actually went back to work, which really made me like get my head out of my butt, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I failed my family. He went back to work. And I started over at the beginning of 2017. I didn't like re-enroll, but I made that decision to do it. And what really got me to make that decision, if any of you are on here and you're like, this is like, I'm about to have my day one again. Like, I want to start all over again, but I don't know how. I feel like you need that like significant moment that's just like that gut punch of like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. And for me, it was, I remember when Zach went back to work, my son was old enough, Carter was old enough to like know that he wasn't around anymore, when all he knew was him being home. And I remember there were a couple times where he would cry when Zach went back to work. And I was the one talking him off the ledge of like, Daddy will be home. Like, and this is again, 2 years into It Works. So like he's had him home, now he's back. And I'm the one like talking Carter off the ledge of like, he's fine, he'll be home. It's just mommy. Well, what got me into working It Works again was like, what if I go back to work? Like, if I don't get my SHIT together and I have to go back to work, who will be that person telling Carter that mommy and daddy will be home when that's all they knew, right? And that was enough to get me like, it's time to go. And so I started all over in January, and I just ran with those that were left, and it wasn't very many, and we just did the dang thing. And so in January, I was maintaining diamond, and I gave myself a $300 raise. And then in February, we re-maintained double. And then in March, we regained triple. And then in April, it was like my last month that I had to go presidential and get the double bonus. And I did it. And it felt like it was the most crazy, beautiful miracle ever. And you guys, from January of 2017 to April, when I promoted to presidential, I gave our family a $17,000 raise. And that was really significant in my business. And the reason why it just took 7 years to tell you guys that, because I feel like sometimes we think that like it's supposed to be all beautiful and all uphill. And once you make a lot of money, you'll always make a lot of money and life will never throw you off. Or if it does, you have to quit. And it just doesn't have to be that way. And so after going presidential, that was actually when I started doing self-development for the first time. And I have like lost rank since then. It wasn't like it's all been beautiful since, but I've like, it did something to me, getting it all back and starting to pour into myself and realizing that it's just, I'm in it for the long haul and it's not always going to be easy. I don't know. It's just been really awesome ever since, even in the midst of like not always maintaining my highest paid rank. And then we just went ambassador like 2 years after pres. And now I'm trying to go presidential 2.0, but that's like my long 10-minute story. But I wanted to give you like the good, the bad, the ugly, and just to tell you guys that, you know, whether you're doing good or you're doing bad on here, you can always make that decision and you can get out of it.
I love that so much. I feel like we love to just talk about our highlights and we don't always get into the nitty gritty. And it's so relatable. I remember the first time I lost rank and I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't for me anymore, because I didn't know it was something that even happened. And so I just love how vulnerable you were with that and your whole story. I absolutely love it. I'm like obsessed with you. It's great. So I'm so excited and cheering you on for your presidential promotion 2.0 there. That's exciting. So I know you work predominantly through host to post with your customers, right?
Yep.
So I want to hear it all your systems. That's like my jam. I love host to post too. So I just want to know, how do you get it done? How are you getting the post up? What's your numbers look like your entire systems for that?
Yeah. I'm like insecure as I'm like realizing that I talk with my hands, and I had anxiety on the plane ride home. We just got back from Texas and I peeled all my nails off except for my thumbs. So I only have thumbnails on. And so I'm like trying not to talk with my hands because I just realized that I'm going to look in the recordings with just my thumbnails on. But anyways, yes, host to post. I love host to post so much. And I think that, I know this is going to be like an annoying answer in the beginning, but I think it's really important to know that host to post does work. It never stops working. It just needs to be changed during different seasons of Facebook when we just can't control it and it's an algorithm thing. And the reason I say that is because we have to remember the power of our tongue, in the sense of like, if we keep saying that host post doesn't work and we can't sign customers and all of these things, that's exactly what will happen. And I still get caught up in that trap all the stinking time. So first of all, believe that host post always works. It's a beautiful system that like we just get to pivot all the time and we get to make up our own wording. There's just annoyances in the sense of like, there are some times where my team and I am like, man, it's been 4 weeks and we're just playing with all of these different wording like techniques to figure out how to break the algorithm. So I say that to tell you guys that just because we are a host post center team and we can do it with our eyes closed doesn't mean that it always works. The wording always works for us, and we always have to reinvent the wheel too. But for me right now in the summer, I think that I know that I work differently in the summer, because in the summer, I kind of feel like I reward myself and I let myself be with my family more. And so I have to be more intentional with my time. You know, it's not the full blown sprint throughout the summer. I want to still make good money, but I also want to have a really great relationship with my family and be outside, right? So it's like how to have it all. So what our team has been doing since the beginning of June, end of May, is we've been like diving into our friends list, but in a different way. Some people are paper people. We have girls on our team that are like ride or die paper, and they print off their friends list and they just bring it around with them. And I used to be that way, but I would never stick it out. And so what I did, I got one of our triples did this. And then she talked about how simple it was we downloaded our friends list and then we airdropped it. Like I airdropped it to my iPad, which I bring around with me everywhere. And then it went straight to my pages. So I have on my iPad, like 5 columns of my friends list. I shrunk it to my Microsoft Word on my computer first, and then I airdropped it. Now this sounds extremely green and I am negative green. So don't like, let me lose you by saying this. It took me a minute to figure it out, but it's not as hard as I'm making it seem. But once I shrunk it on Word and then airdropped it and it's all on my iPad, it feels kind of fun because as I'm going through every single name, I'm just erasing the name once I've messaged them or I've deleted them, whatever it is. You guys know what it's like to go through your friends list and sometimes you pull someone up and you're like, they can probably go, right? So my goal is to get down to 0 pages. So it's kind of fun to erase the names. So I just randomly scroll because I've had Facebook since like 2013. So when you convert your friends list over, you see the dates that you became friends. So like sometimes I'll be in 2018, sometimes I'll be in 2013. Like I just switch it up because based on that, it changes like how many times I've messaged them, right? Like I have a lot of 2014 people that I've messaged like 17 times, but I'm not ready to like cut the cord yet. So I switch it up. And then we're just cold messaging them. I mean, it's not even really cold messaging them because a lot of them we've messaged before, but we're basically just saying something along the lines, and I can get you our exact wording, but it's something along the lines of like, hey girl, quick question. And we used to do that. Like when we came out with Host to Post in 2017, it was for when I went presidential. That's what we did. Hey, quick question. Wait for their response. And then you ask them to throw a post up on the wall. And there was no giveaway. You just asked them to do the favor. So we went back to that. But some of us are just saying, hey, quick question, waiting. Other people are just doing, hey, quick question, and then all at once, just asking for the favor and saying in return, you'll get a thank you, or you'll get entry into my giveaway. And then what we're doing for the summer is we're trying to get 5 giveaway posts up every single day before we do anything else. And usually I feel like we just stick to 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3 and it's fine. But I think we're also desperate to just getting them in the door. And I switched my mindset in the beginning of like June, end of May, of like, I'm not going to consider a win. I'm not going to consider signing a customer from a host post a win anymore, because I was setting me and my team up for failure, because we would get all these host posts up, we'd get 10 up. And then we were like, damn, I had a really crappy day because I didn't sign a customer, but I got my 10 up. And so like, we kind of switched it to, if I just get them to accept the friend request, then they're in. And instead of thinking of that, like, you know, the microwave instant like mentality of like signing them on the spot, because we get blessed with that. Like sometimes we get a host post up and we sign 5 in a day, and then we get mad that it's not always like that. And so it's been more fun for me to work my business, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got 40 new people on my friends list that accepted my friend. So now it's like, are they going to join my team when they see all my posts about my story? Are they going to do a giveaway post for me? Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're in. They've clicked confirm. They're now in my shop, essentially. And I get excited because I know I'm good at Facebook. And so if you're not posting every day and you're not consistent, you might not be excited as I'm telling you this. It might not even be like doing anything for you because you're not consistent. But I am. And I'm confident that if I get them on my Facebook, eventually, even if it's 2 years from now, they will join me or benefit me in some way, shape, or form. And so I think that's what's got me excited about host posts. And that's been like keeping our system going, is just getting the host posts up, getting those 5 giveaways up, confirm. Okay, that was a win for the day. Now, hopefully some of them actually blossom into customers or distributors the next day, but we did what we had to do. So we're getting like 5 up. And right now the giveaway post that we're using, we used to do the towel one for like 3 years. I felt like the way you fold your towel. Right now, I don't feel like pictures are working. I don't really know. It could be different. But we are doing like drop the time you see this. It always works for the most part. Drop the time you see this to get entered in, whatever. And then we're going back and forth between cleanse and gummies for the most part. Some people on our team are killing it and signing like 30 to 50 gummies a month. And then the others are doing a lot of freaking cleanse. So those are the host posts we're doing. And that's the system I'm doing. And the reason I moved to the friends list is because I was doing the giveaway post and I was posting it on my Facebook so frequently, but I was getting like dud after dud, like people, the recycled people that are the first 20 people to always comment. And I couldn't rely on the giveaway post on my wall anymore. And so I knew I had to get a little bit, oh great, Tanya just did that. We have that on our Facebook. We have that on our team page. So then we're always able to refer people back. Oh, you're struggling with host posts? Okay, we'll search friends list. And now you can print off your friends list, use it as a huge task list. So hopefully that answered. You can like pick that apart if you want me to explain anything thoroughly, but friends list, changing your mindset on it, and those 5 giveaway posts up every day will keep you so busy.
I absolutely love it. I love how, you pivoted so much, and it's so cool just to mention, because I remember when Host to Post really blew up again, when corporate was kind of doing this big thing, last year, and yeah. I feel like you led a lot of that, and it was so different now, and that's why I wanted to hear you talk about it again. This business is constantly evolving, and that's how we stay successful. That's how we keep going with it, is we pivot. We're not trees, we're not planted. We get to move and do the different things and try the different wordings, and I just love that. So let's talk a little bit about your non-negotiables, like what you do every day. I know this is pretty much even across the board, but I want to relate it back to summer, because I know, like you were saying, you get to afford yourself that luxury of spending time with your babies, and you've been on multiple trips recently. And so how are you still accomplishing those non-negotiables, and what do those look like in like your summer days?
Yeah. So you guys, another thing too, if you're searching for this permission, I feel like I feel like I had a big shift in my business, and I don't remember when it was, whenever I started putting my kids in daycare. I felt very awkward about it. Like, so my kids, obviously you can put them in daycare whenever, but like school, they can't just do that out the womb. Right. And so I was waiting for like official school to start. And I'm like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. Like, I am actually dreading being a stay-at-home mom. And I didn't like it. And then I had to I started relying on like my friend, Erin Tweed was so significant in like she was such a big part in my business, because I remember a phone call I had where she was just like, just helping me not have the mom guilt of like, listen, if you don't enjoy, it's okay to not enjoy being home with your kids all the time, right? And she like kind of gave me that permission to enroll them in school. And that was when my business shifted, because I had that permission to switch the schedule that I was typically used to. And so I think that as we go through seasons, and I know that some people hate when you say seasons, but I just believe there are seasons of life, and I don't think you can always avoid them. So I feel like we need the permission to know that during different seasons of life, it's okay to switch up your schedule, and then your non-negotiables that come with that. And so with it being summer, I don't remember who it was. A couple of my really amazing leaders talked about wanting to wake up at 6 a.m. because we used to do that all the time. We did it for like 2 solid years, and then we just stopped doing it. It wasn't really serving all of us at the same. And then we just started sleeping in, whatever. Okay. So my kids don't get up until 7:45 or 8. We're really strict, and we have a light that turns green in their bedroom, and they're not allowed to leave it unless they have to go pee. We're super mean, but we've just always really loved sleeps around here. So they won't come out unless it's an emergency before 7:45. So hearing my leaders say that they wanted to get up, I'm like, well, maybe we all just need that accountability. So we kind of have been like rotating when I'm not traveling. They're all doing it without me, and they're super consistent, but I'm going to get back on it tomorrow. But we've been rotating like who hosts the 6 a.m. one. And from 6 to 8 every single morning, Monday through Friday, a leader in my downline has hosted it. In the first 30 minutes, we have it muted and everybody's reading, because everybody wanted to get their reading knocked out, and then people wanted to do it on their own time. And it's like, oh my gosh, how cute if we were just like all on Zoom knocking that out together. And then the next 90 minutes is just someone plays music and we just work together. And it's been really great to work before the world wakes up again. And not everybody's been doing that. And I think that doing that through the summer has been great, because we want to enjoy the middle of the day. We don't want to feel guilty. So I'm going back to making that a non-negotiable, waking up before the world wakes up. But that has been significant. And then obviously you're knocking 2 birds out with 1 stone, because you're getting that self-development in. And you guys, I really love to read. It makes my soul happy. But sometimes when I'm caught up in host posts and I'm caught up in life, I'm putting that one thing that I love the most at the bottom of my list. And then it's been 5 days that I've even opened a book and taken care of myself. And so that's been super important to me. And then getting those 10 host posts up, I mean, is important to me. I've been kind of slacking with it this month, but, and then making sure I'm getting that time with my kids and my husband. And this is something that I neglected for a very long time, and it caused issues in my marriage, and it caused my kids. I can't really say it caused issues with my kids. They love you unconditionally, and I thank God for that. But I get very addicted to it works. And I know I'm not the only one. I am addicted to the hustle, the grind. I love it. And I tell myself sometimes that it's okay because it's only temporary. And here I am about to celebrate 7 years, and I'm still doing the same thing. And I had a talk with my husband about like 3 months ago or so. It was like in the middle of one of the winner circle qualifications. And I was biting his head off. I was freaking out. I was a stressed person. And he was just like, it's not the end of the world. And I remember saying something like, it's just like, I'm just sprinting right now. Like, it's just a small period of time. Just let me do this. It'll be okay. And he was like, you have not stopped since 2014. You always say this, and we preach freedom, and you're not even showing that in your actions. And I'm just like, kind of like hit me hard, because I'm like, you're so right. So making a priority to have time with him. He usually gets me at the end of the day, but he's okay with that. Like, he still is, even though he very much is next to me, he's very, very okay taking the back seat. That just can cause an issue, because I don't always want that. And, you know, we want them to be, does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, so I make time for him at the end of the night. We usually have unplugged session. I don't know why I called it that. And we get to spend time together. And then my kids get me in the middle of the day. One goes daycare, one's home for the summer. And I'm just trying to be really strict with that. And so my non-negotiable this summer is just being a great mom, because I've really been a bad one. I've been a bad one. And it's okay. I'm not mad at myself for that. I feel like I've been giving them a good life, but I haven't been the loving mom that my kids need with their love languages. And so I have been so much happier, because my son that's home, he's about to be 8, and his love language is quality time. So that's really hard when you're hustling with It Works all the time and you can't have that quality time. Whereas if it was affirmation, I could just tell him I love him all the time, right? So those are my non-negotiables. Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer. Wake up before the world, get your reading in, take care of yourself, be there with your kids, be there with your husband. So if I know that those things matter the most, I'm going to make my work around that. And then also, like, panic kind of sinks in the sense of like, wow, I only have 3 hours to work today. Well, then I better be really freaking intentional during those 3 hours. And so that's just kind of helped me work a little bit harder and more intentional, knowing that like I don't have all the time in the day if those other things are important to me. And I think that that's where we go wrong, is like we don't really establish what's most important. What's important? Like for me, it might be different than what's important to somebody else on here. It's been 7 years. Like we've made over $20,000 a month for over 2 years now. Like we obviously want and need the money for different reasons, but I don't have to work like a psychopath 24 hours a day like I did in 2014, you know? And so I think that's just where you start with your non-negotiables. What do I want to do during this season? Over the next 90 days, what is my end goal? Okay, well, now my work is going to have to reflect that. Is it just $2,000 by the end of September? Well, then you probably don't need to work as hard as someone that wants to make 20,000 by the end of September, you know? So hopefully that was helpful.
Oh my gosh, that was probably the best answer I've ever heard to that question. We love to jump into the actual tasks we do, but the way you just put all that like in perspective with what you really want, because if you are wanting to do the tasks and you're wanting to do all that, your business will thrive. But if you're prioritizing this in this season, it's important to know that, because if we don't make it a priority, it's not going to be, no matter how bad we want it to be. The other things are always going to take over. I absolutely love that. So the cool thing about being at your rank and been in this company for 7 years, you know, is you don't just have your own success, but your whole team is seeing success. You've been able to change so many lives. And so how are you really duplicating that same success within your team, having those VIPs come, having the new people come in, hit Ruby, just kind of all the levels, the bringing that duplication down?
Yeah, this is a good question, and it's different, you know, obviously not everybody comes in with like the same fire, even though I feel, I mean, I don't feel like I always sign someone up and I have that fire that they're like attracted to, but for the most part, we get pumped, right? And we know what we want and all of the things. And sometimes it can be frustrating when someone joins and it's like, you're being the most perfect leader, energetic, you have all the things, and they're just not latching on. So for us, it was, I don't know when it was, I think it was last year. Or the pandemic was last year. I think it was the last September. I was kind of in a little bit of like a drought, what it felt like. I was like struggling signing distributors, and I got like really excited and anxious, like wanting to like mass enroll again, because I knew what it was like to mass enroll distributors. And for me, in my head, that was like 10 plus. Because that's how much I wasn't doing it, that if I signed 10 distributors in a month again, that would make me feel really good. And I wanted that. And so I started thinking about it, and TikTok was really hot, and everybody was like freaking bragging about their success, and I wasn't having that success. And I was really annoyed because I wanted that success. And it kind of like hit me like a ton of bricks, in the sense of, maybe I'm not mass enrolling because I don't know what the heck I would do, what I would do when someone trusted me. Because when you kind of get out of whack with your schedule, or not your schedule, your system, or a lack of system, or maybe you haven't enrolled, maybe there's someone on here and they're like, this is my day one and I've actually taken the last 7 months off. Well, you might be here right now where you're like, I'm not signing anyone because I don't know what the heck I would do once they said yes. And so that was where I was at. And so I sat here and I'm just like, well, maybe I could like think of like a clever, like 4 or 5 step like system where everybody could use it. And then the duplication happens, because I feel like we were almost dreading bringing people in, because I didn't know what I would do with mine, let alone teach one of my girls what they would do, because we weren't really enrolling a lot. So I thought about it. I didn't like get caught up in the number or the name. I was just like, what would I right here, right now think was most important when someone came in? And so for us, it was like, we changed the settings. I also was preparing for a blow up. So I was like, how do we make it convenient and easy and utilize boards? And so for us, we changed the settings of our team page to where you don't just have to invite them. You can like, I think you make it public or whatever, which is annoying because we have all these random people always trying to like, they're always in member requests, but it's fine. But we changed the settings of our team page so that we could copy the link and put it in our word board. Okay, so that's step one is, hey, welcome, so excited to do this. Here's our team page, click the link and blah, blah, blah. And then once we accept them in, at the bottom of that same step one is click the link, someone will add you in, and then we say, click on the announcement tab, and we just have one thing under the announcements, and it's a welcome video that I did like in 2017. I should probably do it again. We just haven't like made a new one. And it's just basically like an 11-minute video. I think I was just super excited saying like, I'm Rachel, one of your leaders, welcome. We're gonna teach you about host posts. It's gonna be fun. We love you. Now message your leader, basically. And so that is all part of step one. Add yourself to the team page, watch the video. So then at the bottom of each step, we're saying, now message your enroller. So this is really easy on us because it's like, here's step one. I just gave you a text replacement from WordBoard. Now I'm like twiddling my thumbs, like waiting, right? And I can keep on doing my other tasks and wait for them to message. So then it goes into step two, which is your startup post. And we just have this little template, super lame. It's been since like 2015. We should probably make a new haven't recreated it. So then they put that up on their wall. They come and message us again. Well, step 3, I was giving them the hour-long host post for dummies that corporate had me and Kelly Brown do. And it was great. I think we killed it. But what I was realizing was someone that signs up 20 minutes later doesn't necessarily want to watch this important training where they have to take notes and stuff, right? So I found I was losing people around that step. So we changed it to like a 5 or 7 minute. I actually took it from Claire Flores, and people think that's weird. No one's ever asked me who she is. They think she's just on our team, which technically she kind of is in the grand scheme of things. But Claire just does this really great host post video, and she's just so perfect and precise in the way she explains it. And it's like 5 or 7 minutes explaining host post. We say, watch this. That's step 3. Step 4 is the buy-in to our host post. We make everybody start buying in $10 every single month from the beginning. And then step 5 is really diving in. So step 5 is where it gets really like juicy and overwhelming. And that's where you could really lose someone if they don't understand what they're doing. But I basically just took the time to make a long message. And in the beginning, I said, this is step 5. This is going to be really long, but you're going to be able to sign 6 customers in 72 hours. That I don't know where I got that. I stole it from someone. Copy this whole message over to your notepad. So when they bring it all into their notepad, then they can like take little parts of it and like take it and run. Does that make sense? So I like literally make it so easy. And I'll send you this, Mariah, but it's like, here's the message to send to 30 ladies on your friends list. And then it's the host to post, and then it's the thank you sample cash message. So basically in that one step, you're having them message everybody. And then once people start saying yes, they know what to do because you're giving them the host post. And then they're also thanking that person and saving the post and hopefully making sample cash. So now you've gotten to knock out all these steps and you're still doing your own thing. And now you don't really have to do anything until they start sending you screenshots. And that's just honestly was like a light bulb for us. And it was just really easy. I don't think this is the end all be all. We call it 5 to Thrive. I don't think it's for everyone. And I don't think it's like the best in the world, but so far since like September, October, it's worked really well for our team. And I've already started like tweaking step 5, like kind of like split it up a little based on who it is. But that's what's cool is we've been using it long enough to know like when I'm talking to someone and maybe they take 7 hours to get through step 1, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll take this and do it a little bit different because you're clearly not like an automatic go-getter if you're taking that long for step 1. Well, now I'm going to mold myself to you. And so that's kind of what I do when newbies come in is I try to give them 5 to Thrive, but I'm also aware. I'm very aware because I don't want to give you all of my energy. If you're like at a 5, why am I going to give you a 10 when there are other people that want a 10 and are giving me a 10, you know? So I don't just write them off, but I'm going to like take a step back. And then I'm also going to have that conversation when appropriate in the sense of, hey, I'm giving you my all. We haven't even gotten through my system and it's been 3 days. I am going to back off until you're ready. Let me know when you have a day off because I'm like, I got a lot of stuff to do with my team that is working, you know, like I have to have those conversations. And I think we don't hear enough that we are allowed to, like we are their coach, their mentor. Like that's what we signed up to do. And so I think it's okay to have those stern conversations in the sense of, I know what to do to help you be successful, but you're not even giving me the opportunity to do that. And you put this money in, you know? So that's kind of where I figure out like, you know, who's walking, who's running, who's sprinting, and I meet them at their level. And then based on the different ranks and stuff, like in getting the VIPs, I don't know. I just feel like I meet them at their level. So I hope that like after 30 days and they understand host post, I pray that like my people, and it usually works this way, is like my people will kind of take the initiative to blow me up so that I can serve them rather than waiting for me to do that. And then I don't know, like the people that really want it are in my inbox asking how to chart, how to do all the things. And then we have a Sunday night team Zoom every single week. That's an hour. That's really great for us all to stay connected. And we just, I don't know. I feel like I fell off and didn't fully answer your question. I kind of just stuck to the newbies. I don't really know if you wanted me to dive into like leadership in a different way. If so, pull it out of me because I lost it.
That was so good. I don't know why I've never thought, because like with our team, we talked about like with host to post, having like mentioning the sample cash, but I've never thought of doing that with my new distributors. And I don't know why, because that is so genius. You're going to get the customers in and you're going to make the cash. Like that was like a huge aha. That's amazing. I'm doing that now. That's so cool. And yeah, no, that was actually a really good answer. So then your systems are duplicatable in the sense that you have it all made up on boards. And so your leaders can then train their teams the exact same way, which makes it even more duplicatable. And I absolutely love that. So I know you said you went through a little bit of a drought with the distributors, and then obviously you're back rocking out. You've got this new training system. What are you doing now to attract and then bring those distributors in?
Yeah. Okay. This is I'm so glad that you asked this, because again, we kind of switched it all up. We have great leaders. I have really good leaders that for the most part, they don't like complain when things are slow. We want to be a problem. We solve the problem, right? So we just usually come together, and we just came together like a few days ago, like in the beginning of July, and we talked about like what we wanted July to look like, because some of us weren't happy with June. Okay, it was just, we got a little tired. So we made this task list through Google Forms or something. I don't know. It's over my head. Someone else made it. One of our leaders made it. But we talked about, again, we kind of did like what we did for Five to Thrive, in the sense of, as leaders, as diamonds and above, those that are hustling and wanting to get through the summer, like, what do we think is most important so we can work really hard, but not be psychopaths where we're not enjoying summer or it works. And so we want to sign distributors. And that was why a lot of us were ticked about June, was because for some reason we all struggled signing distributors. Okay, so how are we going to solve that problem? We're going to obviously do more tasks centered around that. So what we did is we just created 5 steps for July, and we're just going to see if those are significant. And because we want to sign distributors, we want new blood. And those tasks that we're doing is following 100 people on Instagram, just to keep that going. Because like, I just feel like the best people come from Instagram, and we just neglect it. And so we don't get those good people. And so following 100 on Instagram, that's just super easy. And then reading 30 minutes to get that self-development in. But then the other 3 tasks are 10 host posts up. And then one of them is asking 5 people that host posted for you to join your team. And it's basically like, we did sample thank you message all the time. And then one of our triples started doing the, hey, actually what you did is what I do, blah, 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 you know, whatever that is. I really don't use that because I like to make sample cash. So that's challenging for me to make sure. And then it's also knocking 2 birds out, because I'm like, well, I have to, one of the tasks is get 10 host posts up, but I know I have to at least get 5 up, because I need to get those 5 like asks, right? So that's helping us sign distributors. And then the other one is going back to cold messaging, because I know that cold messaging, some people are like, ew, don't even say it, but that got me 5 figures monthly. It was the end all be all when I joined. That's all I did. And that's how I signed all of my distributors. I wasn't very good at attraction marketing. And so we kind of wanted to go back to that. And so we are cold messaging mostly on Instagram. I think it's 25 or 30 or 15. I don't actually know. I should look at it, but it's like 15 to 30, whatever that number is, people every single day on Instagram. And we're just cold messaging them, basically just saying, you know, whatever, the typical cold message, asking someone about the opportunity. And so that is helping us get into conversations. And then we also changed our mindset in the sense of like, I know it's super awesome to have someone message you and sign up on the spot as a distributor, but that's not normal. And so if we just think about, obviously we all want to mass enroll, but if we think about 3 distributors, it's my job this month to sign 3 distributors. Well, then I'm not going to get pissed off if I've talked to someone July 1st and it's July 7th and I'm still building that relationship, because I still have 3 weeks and I'm building that like relationship with this person to where hopefully they sign and they're really good. And I know that I have time to do so. Whereas sometimes we're so focused on like 50 distributors, 40, and that's not wrong. Like I've done that. I've had a couple months where I've signed that many. I was losing my marbles, but there were a lot of fun things that came from that. But I also had a lot of cons that came with it, in the sense of I didn't have good relationships with them. I was a little bit of a lazier leader because I couldn't be the best for all these people. So switching the mindset in the sense of looking for 3 DTs, doing those tasks. And then also I feel like we've all stepped away from TikTok and Reels and doing them every day because we're tired and it's summer and nobody wants to look pretty every single day. And I feel like we think we have to look pretty for that. But you know, what's crazy is that for the last winter qualifying for the island, I got back from vacation last month and I'm like, it's time to go. Like I need to get all these points. So I knew at the end of the month, I hadn't signed a single distributor until like the 25th. And I was so embarrassed and I was like, ew, but I was focused on everything else that I kind of just forgot about it and no one was coming to me. And so I was like, it's time to like buckle down. I got really pretty. I made just just a random TikTok. And for some reason, I don't know why it worked like this, but I only made one and it blew up. Actually, like 24 to 48 hours later, it got taken down. But I was so on it that I got like all the people that messaged me, and I like got enough people to where it didn't hurt me. But I just made an opportunity TikTok and it just went really well. I don't know why it went really well, but it did. And I signed up 9 distributors in the last 5 days of the month, all from that video. And it was super awesome just to know, like, I made up my mind. It doesn't always work like that, but I centered it around that. And then what do you know? What came from it? Because I switched my focus, you know? So I think that if we went back to taking the time to make like 1 video a day, and we got that consistency with that, I think we'd be blessed with having people and having those conversations, which is a win in itself. So that's what we're doing. Is we know how to sign customers. We can do it with our eyes closed. Host to Post is awesome, but we have to work more intentionally to get those distributors. And so our tasks for July are centered around that, which some people might be like, ew, but it's just different for us. And I pray that it works and that we're all signing our steps to success, because it was a little bit of a wake-up call and embarrassing for a lot of us last month when a lot of people didn't do their steps because the distributors were missing.
Right. Oh, I feel that. We have the same thing. I was talking to some of my leaders the other day, and I was like, we need distributors. Like last month is not where it was. We got to switch our focus, and we've got to do that. And so I feel that 100%. I love that daily task list that you've got going on. So let's talk very briefly with TikTok and Instagram Reels. This is something for me personally, I've dabbled with, but I don't know how to make it duplicatable. So it's not something I've put too much effort into, but I would love just your basic tips on getting things going with Instagram Reels and TikTok.
Yeah. Okay, guys, what I did to make this go in September or whatever is I just like, I wasted a lot of time on it, but I also knew that good stuff would come from it. So like, you have to be careful because it's a dark hole. It's definitely a dark hole, but I took the time to do my homework, and that was, I get overwhelmed. And when I'm overwhelmed and it's not fun, done, I'm out and I don't want to do it, which is why it took so long to do TikTok in the first place. So what I would tell you guys, if I were just to give you a basic tips to like get started tomorrow, is go on TikTok and look around, like just look around and I don't want to say that you should just go to my TikTok. I might not be for everybody, and that's fine. So for me, it was like, I knew Morgan Martin was doing really good, and Shay Knox, and they weren't the only people in the company. There was a lot of people, but those were the 2 people that stuck out to me. So find your people, find your top leaders that have had success on TikTok. They've done many, many trainings on it. So you've probably heard a bunch. And those were the 2 people I was like, for the most part, I was going to copy them. Now I found a couple other leaders like Kelly Brown, I would see hers, but I was focused on Shay and Morgan. And I just started watching all their videos and I started saving them. Save. All of the ones that I liked, I saved. And then I just started getting myself ready and I started copying them. Now the first couple of days I was just I just hated it. I was like, this is not fun. This is a waste of my time. I'm so uncomfortable, but it got easier and easier, you guys. And like a week in October, I was on an ambassador call, and we have them on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. I was on one and I was like, you guys, I'm just really freaking frustrated. Like, it's not working for me like everybody else. I feel like I could be doing other tasks that are like more useful of my time. And then Kelly Brown was on and she was like, well, I just had this one go viral. And so what did I do? Like TikTok and Reels are all about copying. They just are. That's just, and it's the luck of the draw. And so she said, I had one that went viral. So I saved it and I made it. I got off the ambassador Zoom, made it, and it went viral. And that's the first month that I signed 50 distributors in a month because of that specific TikTok. So this is very overwhelming advice, but your eyes like have to always be open. If you're ready to like consistently sign, your eyes have to be open. You have to pay attention to what's working on there, and you just have to be disciplined, because again, you can get really like sucked in. But that's what I did. And my focus was on TikTok, making the videos on TikTok, and then they automatically saved your camera roll. And then I was taking it to Reels. Now my TikTok people, I have a couple like diamonds in there, like diamonds in the rough, but for the most part, that's hard. It's very hard. They're watching the short video, not always the best. But when you get some from Reels, which is from TikTok, oh my gosh, I have like great gems that came from freaking Instagram. So it's knocking 2 birds out with 1 stone. So find your couple leaders that you love, dedicate to stalking their lives, saving their videos, get ready. And maybe you just set your timer for 30 minutes every morning. And you're like, for 30 minutes, I'm going to make as many as I can and save them in the drafts. And then I just posted, I think I posted 3 a day. I'm telling you, I dedicated myself to it, but it definitely paid off. I just got really tired and I stopped doing it. So hopefully that helps you guys.
Right. I love that. And so how are you doing once you've got their talking to them or whatever? How are you transitioning them to then train them? So you found them on TikTok. Are we then getting them on Facebook and working there? Are we trying to teach them how to work Instagram, or how are you like getting them started?
So I was using the not corporates, but the milkshake app, the whatever. Wow, what is it? The social, the application thing. And that was just in my bio. And I like all of the call to actions and the opportunity. The call to action would either be on the video or just in the caption. Fill out the application in my bio. Fill out the application. So then I was getting all of these emails where I would get their phone number from the app, and I would just text them. And I'm telling you guys, I'm just telling you this just to give you excitement. Hopefully it doesn't do the worst, but it got so psychotic when I was doing 3 a day for so long that I had to get 2 phones. I had to get 2 phones because my main line was freaking crashing. And I was like, this is actually really not fun. And so I upgraded my phone because I needed one anyways. And then my husband correlated a new number with it. So it's on the charger right now. I don't take it around. I only use it when I'm like, I think I want to blow up. So then I dedicate myself to it. And so then what I started doing this year when I got 2 phones is I started using the call to action be text opportunity to that second number. So what's cool is that, and this is how I signed those 9 distributors in like 5 days last month, because they all were on there. What's cool is like, when I dedicated my time to that, that's awesome. But then like, if we wanted to go on date night, I could bring my real phone, leave that home with all of it blowing up and not be stressed the heck out. Whereas on my main line, I was like, I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't even breathe. I'm like, I don't even know where my team is because I'm just having like text after text after text. So I'm not telling you to get 2 phones, but I'm saying if you like really want to blow up and you really dedicate, it can get that big to where you're like in that position where you're like needing 2 phones. So you just have to definitely make the decision first.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I love that. So the last question I got for you, I know you're pushing 7 years. That's so much time. You've grown up with this company. You've gone through so much life. If you had to go back to 7 years ago and tell yourself anything, what would that be?
Wow. That's a good
I know it's a tough one. Take a second to think if you need.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it. I would say, honestly, like what comes to mind right off the bat is to be stronger, like not worry so much. And I don't know what it's like to be a newbie now. Like I'm obviously not new, but I think about this, and my husband and I were just talking about it, just the way like I felt like I had something to prove. And I felt like I had a lot of haters in the beginning. I lived in a small town and nobody knew what It Works was, which is great because I was able to sign so many people up, but I also dealt with a lot of hate in the sense of it was a pyramid scheme, it was a scam. And I felt, being a yellow, that I had so much, and just insecurities and all of the things, that I had so much to prove, but I wasn't proving it in the right way. I would like make statuses to like explain and like call people out, and I was deleting family and all of the things. And I almost feel like I could have had a different journey, even though I wouldn't trade anything and it was great and we did good right off the bat fast. I feel like I could have learned things, and I could have maybe kept more people around if I knew how to manage that better, and knowing it's really not about me, but it's about the person. And I took everything to heart. And I don't know if there's anyone on here that's new, or maybe you're not new, but you're like, man, nobody wants to support me. So many of us have been there. And, I just feel like I wish I would have a little bit sooner used it as ammo, in the sense of like, I told you guys that I had a son when I joined and I wanted to give him a better life. But like, what really motivated me was having a unsupportive husband. But it's like, imagine if we would use that feeling of like, okay, he's not supportive, well, I'm going to show him. And I did. Imagine if we like used that with our audience, like our Facebook is our unsupportive husband, instead of just, I should quit because everyone hates me and nobody wants to join, but I'm going to prove them wrong. People are watching you. And I just didn't know. I was so young, naive, and ignorant. Like I didn't know how many people were watching me in the beginning, not necessarily to see me fail, but they just didn't know what they didn't know. And I wonder how many people, I had so many situations where they chose other people. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all meant to be in different ways, but it's like, I wonder how many people maybe would have joined me, or I could have kept around if I wasn't so focused on proving them wrong and just more focused on myself and not caring so much. That's probably what advice I would give myself is, it's not about you, it's about them. You don't have to prove yourself to them. And just remembering why we started, it's just crazy how there's this shift when we go from being a potential to being an It Works distributor. And we're a potential and we're so emotional and we're like, oh my gosh, I need this, like my electricity is going to get shut off, and we're so emotional. And then we join and freaking it gets hard, and we're so quick to give up, and we're so quick to talk down on our why and all of the things. We like turn into a different person. It's actually really annoying. So don't do that. Stop doing that, right? But that's just, I guess, my advice. Just don't worry so much. And it's just not that big of a deal, but it has the potential to change everything. But if you're so focused on all of the things going wrong and all of the people that aren't supposed to be aligned in your path, it's just going to set you off, and it's going to just be a distraction. And I definitely let that happen for a very long time in the beginning.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. Guys, drop a 1 in the chat if this was just amazing and you took something away. Rachel, I'm so thankful for you doing this. I know you just got back from a trip, so you've been running crazy, and we're so appreciative that you took time out of your night to sit down with us. And there's so much amazing good nuggets we're going to take away from this. So we're thankful for you, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening.
Bye, guys.